Every day this week, we've been speaking to representatives from all the major political parties standing in the European elections. Unfortunately, we're not going to be speaking to UKIP. They have decided to decline our invitation. They wanted to know what the questions would be in advance, which obviously we were not willing to agree to. However, we are now speaking to a representative of the Change UK party who kindly joins us, spokeswoman for Brexit and Justice at the Change UK party, Anna Soubry. Good morning to you, Anna.
Good morning, Julia.
Good morning.
I think I can anticipate some of the questions you might be asking.
That's what I would have thought. Yes, a seasoned MP like yourself.
I don't know about seasoned.
I didn't mean it to sound quite as it sounded. Now, just looking at the polls out today, a brand new YouGov poll for the Times, 7,000 people polled about how they would vote in the European elections, which of course are next Thursday. Brexit Party, 35%. Liberal Democrats at 16%, overtaking Labour down to third place at 15%. Have to go down to the Greens at 10%. The Tory party, your previous party, now polling in single figures at 9%. Change UK down at 5%. Do you regret leaving the Conservative Party?
Oh, no, and I have to say that invariably when I'm in the House of Commons and I'm looking at the benches opposite and listening to what a number of Conservative MPs are saying and this drift to the right, I have no doubt at all I made the right decision. I mean, look, polls are interesting. I mean, the seasoned MP's response, of course, is to say the only poll that matters is next Thursday. But I do have to say this, that if you look at the polls in the run-up to the 2015 election, in the polls that led up to the 2017 general election, and indeed the referendum, each and every time they've got it wrong. So look, I think actually 5% for a brand new party is absolutely a good starting place, and who knows where we'll be next Thursday.
Well, undoubtedly, I'd agree with you. 5% for a brand new party just a few weeks old is very good. However, it's not as good as 35% for the Brexit Party. Do you not think you've been outplayed by them?
Oh, good Lord. The Brexit Party is Mr Farage's ego trip. That's what that's all about. He's got a great deal of money, and of course he is a very lively character. Trouble is with Nigel Farage, he has and holds some extremely unpleasant views, and I don't think he represents our country at all in that respect. That's my view about him.
Well, you say he's got an awful lot of money, and there's been lots of questions about Nigel Farage and the Brexit Party about who's funding them, but we know certainly some of their funding, £2.5 million, has come from 100,000 people joining up to give them £25 each. How many members does the Change UK party have, and how much money have you raised from those memberships, and how much have you raised from individual donors, and are you going to release the names of those donors?
First of all, we publish all our figures through the Electoral Commission, even when we didn't need to. But we don't have a membership subscription. We formed as a political party less than a month ago. We, at the moment, our model, if you like, is for people to sign up as supporters. And then, of course, these elections have come along. And within a few days of us registering as a political party, we went straight into that election mode. So from 3,700 candidates, we selected 70 members of Parliament, 70 candidates from 3,700 applicants. And we are fighting a campaign, a national campaign. But one of the things that was really striking was the number of our supporters who have donated money, small amounts of money often, in order to make sure that we have a good chance of fighting these elections properly.
Are you going to reveal the names of your big donors, though?
Oh, yes, all these, absolutely.
But why not do it before the elections on Thursday? Lots of demands that the Brexit Party does that, but why doesn't Change UK do that? You want to change politics? Why don't you do that?
I think you'll find that that's all being lodged with the Electoral Commission.
No, I know that, but you can publish that in advance, can't you? It's entirely up to the party whether you advance.
Julia, the most important thing is to get it onto the Electoral Commission. That's where you publish these things. They check things over. They check things through. So
with all due respect, Anna, you know who your big donors are.
Look, Julia, can we talk about the real issue?
No, I get to choose the questions. You get to choose how to answer. I think this question is being asked of the Brexit Party quite legitimately. Who funds you? I'm asking Change UK, who funds you?
Commission website. They're all there.
The big donors? The names of the big donors?
You have to do all these things. They will all be there.
But they're not there now. Do you not think voters have a right to know all the information before a vote? You felt very strongly about that in 2016.
Absolutely. We will be doing all those things, I can assure you.
OK. Do you regret there not being a deal, some sort of alliance? The party was talked about a Remain alliance with the other Remain parties, like the Liberal Democrats, like the Greens. If you combine Change UK, Lib Dems and Greens, you're up at 31%.
Yeah, there's two things.
Was that a mistake?
No, let me explain the two things. First of all, if you form that sort of alliance, you have to register it with the Electoral Commission. And frankly, it's not absolutely no time at all to be able to do that. So that wasn't able to happen in any event. We couldn't have done it in any event. But the second thing I think is really important is this. First of all, no formal offer was made either to Change UK nor to the Greens, and both parties can confirm that. But I think it's really important to make this point. I didn't join Change UK or create it for any other reason than I genuinely believe that British politics is broken, and I think that extends to all the main political parties. And I do believe in changing British politics, and that's why we needed this new party to do things in a new way, to bring about the change to our broken politics, to fix it, that I think millions of people across our country desperately want.
What is the change that you want? Because, again, the party's name was originally the independent group. The Diggers then became Change UK.
You know why,
what do you actually want to change? I mean, you want us to remain in the EU, so that's not a change. What do you want to actually change?
I tell you, one of the biggest... There are two really big changes that I believe in, and I know my other colleagues do. The first is to get away from basing policies on ideology. And there was a really good example of that yesterday in Parliament, when the government announced that it was going to scrap its so-called privatisation of the probation service. Now, truthfully, that was introduced through and for ideological reasons. Many of us in private were very unhappy about it. But that system was brought in for those ideological reasons, and it's absolutely failed. And if you looked at Labour's response to it in the House of Commons yesterday, again, now with their shift to the left, their objections were based on ideology, that anything from the private sector is automatically bad, and that everything has to be nationalised. And we've seen that again with their policies on nationalisation of energy, by way of example. I and my colleagues in Change UK are absolutely clear. We want to base policies on evidence. Listen to the evidence, take views from all over. That's how you form policies. And then, you will have to be honest with people, because sometimes there are tough decisions that have to be made. So that's another important part of it all, being honest in the way we do politics. And my final thing is this. It's called tribalism. I am naturally not a tribal person. And if you look at the way that the three main parties operate, they are incredibly tribal, all three of them, even the Lib Dems. And of course, remember, the first party I ever joined was the Liberals. So I think we've got to change British politics. And those are just three of the ways that I think, and I'm determined, that we're going to do it through Change UK.
Well, you've talked about the policies. Of course, really, I mean, again, the new parties haven't really had time to put together full manifestos. Easy to put together a policy platform for the Brexit Party. We want to leave the EU. For Change UK, we want to remain in the UK. You want a EU, want a second referendum. Quite difficult then to put together a whole platform of manifesto pledges when it comes to all the other issues: economic policy, welfare reform, education, NHS. You say you want to base it not on ideology but on evidence. But of course, different people from different political backgrounds will interpret the evidence and see the evidence in different ways. How are you going to form coherent policies with people who come from a Labour tradition?
So the first thing to, if I may say, is to look at where our support is coming from. Look what it is that brings us together. So if you just look at our candidates are ex-Lib Dem MEPs.
Some of them have just defected back to the Lib Dems.
Julia, please just let me finish. So our candidates include former Labour MPs, former Conservative MPs, Stephen Dorrell, former Secretary of State for Health, by way of example, former Lib Dem MEPs, former members of the Green Party. So we are already attracting people from different political traditions. Obviously, amongst the 11 of us, you have Conservatives and Labour in our original parties. What binds us together are those values and principles which are on our website. Now, the plan was, until the EU elections came along, that we would do exactly what I think is so important. We would go out We would take evidence from experts, because I actually think experts can be very helpful. Take that evidence, listen to people, and formulate policy on those other big issues. Big issues, by the way, that have been completely drowned out by the mess of Brexit. But for these elections, of course, they are EU elections. We have printed our charter for Remain. I don't think the Conservatives are doing a manifesto. The Brexit Party refused to do a manifesto, and Labour's is the most peculiar mishmash. Don't know whether they're Arthur or Martha on a people's vote, or indeed Brexit anyway.
OK. Let's also talk about what's going on with your own party in terms of how you're getting your message across. Because when it comes down to the logo, the various name changes, the Twitter name, the leaflets, the bus with the writing on the side of it, it's all
at end. They talk of nothing else in Broxton.
No, I accept that, but it has all been a little bit of a shambles.
Julia,
it's all been a bit amateur, hasn't it?
Well, I don't agree with you.
You
Julia,
don't?
Well, let me finish. This is real Westminster bubble talk. People in my constituency, in the pubs, cafes and restaurants tonight, will not be talking of those things. They will.
Why'd you bother having a bus then?
Pardon?
Why'd you bother having a bus with Change UK written on the side? If no one cares about it, why bother having one?
No, I didn't say that, Julia. I was talking about your criticisms. That's what I was talking about. They don't sit in the pubs, restaurants and cafes of Broxton or indeed anywhere else saying, oh, I see these people have changed their logo or they've changed their name. It is very important to understand this, if I may say. Well, we wanted to register with the Electoral Commission as the independent group and use the acronym TIG, and they wouldn't let us. So we had to have another name. It is as simple as that. That's why we had to change our name. And it's not our choice, but we had no other option.
Okay.
But let's talk about the things that really matter to real people. And that's about the future of our country and this Brexit crisis. And it is a crisis. It's a terrible mess. You can't deliver Brexit. That's the honest truth of it. But the only way now through this crisis...
that's a matter of opinion rather than a matter of fact. But no, let's come...
Can I just say...
No, Anna Soubry, I'm so sorry. Time is running out. Can I just ask you a final question? Because you say, let's talk about the things that matter to people. But the key thing that matters to Change UK is you want to have a second referendum to enable us to remain in the European Union. Realistically, you look at the polling, people don't want a second referendum. That's the last thing that people on all different sides of the political parties don't want.
That's not my sense of it at all. And I go out every Saturday as much as I can into the Market Square in Nottingham, talking to people from all over Nottinghamshire and the city. And
they want that's what they're crying out for. And also,
no, I didn't say that, Julia.
Well, but you said we need to be talking about the things that people care about. And you said, and given that is the main policy of your party, you clearly think that's something people care about. Now, one of the main reasons you think we should have a second referendum is because circumstances. No, Anna, you haven't let me finish my question.
I did.
You didn't. You interrupted my question. I'm trying to get another question to you. Just look. You said that the entire point, you want to have a second referendum because the circumstances have changed since 2016 when we had that referendum. You believe that Brexit's not deliverable, that we should remain in the EU. Why not, though? And I know you've been asked this question many times. Why have you and other party members, Tories, Labour, who've defected to the Change UK party, why have you not chosen to hold by-elections in your own constituencies when clearly the circumstances have changed for the voters in your constituency? You've changed party, you've changed your views on Brexit according to the manifesto you stood on last time. Why would you not give them a second vote?
Right, so let's be a bit old-fashioned, and you ask questions, obviously, but your questions aren't going to be longer than my answer. Let me just go back and finish the point I was trying to make, which was my sense when I go out into Nottingham and talk to people is that people are beginning to change their mind, and they're entitled to change their mind. And it's often older Leave voters who've listened to their children and grandchildren who now want to change their mind, have that second referendum, and of course young people denied a vote. Talking about by-elections, I can tell you the vote that people in my constituency want, increasingly, is that people's vote. And if I looked at the emails that I received after I left the Conservative Party to go into the independent group, 3-1 from my constituents, who I have to say matter the most to me,
they were happy with what you did.
Yeah, they did.
Well, if you're so happy, if they're so happy, why not have a by-election to confirm that?
Can I just please?
No, just why not have a? No, you answered for quite a long time. Why not let them have a by-election to confirm that?
I just explained. I think
because you know the answer already.
No, because this is the problem. example, when you don't let people answer the question. Because the people in my constituency do not have a thirst for a by-election. They are not calling for it. What they want, though, is they want a way out of this Brexit crisis and the impasse in Parliament. And increasingly people see the only way through it is to go back to the British people and put it back to them for their final say.
OK, Anna Soubry, we will have to leave it there. I do apologise. Time is against us. Anna Soubry is a spokeswoman for Brexit and Justice, but she's a Change UK MP. Every day this week, we've spoken to representatives from all the major political parties standing in the European elections. On Monday, we had the Brexit Party. Tuesday was Labour. Wednesday was the Green Party. Thursday, we spoke to both the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats. Today was the turn of Change UK. We did ask UKIP, but they declined our invitation. To listen back to any of this week's interviews or to see a full list of all of the candidates standing in all of the regions across the country in the elections next Thursday, go to our website talkradio.co.uk.